Ukrainian defenders have made tactical advances near Pokrovsk. Meanwhile, Russian occupiers continue to conduct offensive operations in most directions, but have failed to achieve success, according to a report by the Institute for the Study of War, ISW. According to geolocation images, the Ukrainian Armed Forces have advanced south from Udachny. Meanwhile, the enemy continues to attack in the direction of Pokrovsk, Rodinskoye, Vladimirovka, Krasny Liman, Razin, Mirny, Mirolyubovka, as well as in the directions of Promin, Lisovka and Sergeyevka. The Russians recently tried to advance in the direction of Novopavlovka, in particular in the Novokhatskoye area, but were unable to capture the settlement. The enemy is also conducting offensive operations in the direction of Volchansk and continues to attack the north of Sumy Oblast, but all to no avail. Analysts stress that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's army has not achieved strategic results, while Ukrainian fighters continue to advance, holding the initiative in key areas. Recently, military expert, retired colonel of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, military pilot instructor Roman Svitan reported that the Russians are preparing a second wave of the offensive. According to him, the main pressure of Russian troops during the offensive campaign will be around September. There is no reason to talk about a weakening of the Russian offensive in the Zaporizhia and Donetsk directions. On the contrary, intensive preparations are underway for the second wave, and the second wave is already entering the prepared breakthroughs and should then enter the operational spaces, capturing a certain number of tens of kilometers of territory. This is how any operation is planned, Svitan said. The military expert recalled that Russia had launched a similar operation last year. According to him, the invaders first began to put pressure on the Donetsk, Avdiivka and Ocheretinsk directions, then broke through two Ukrainian front lines with the help of cabs, and then entered the operational space and stopped in the Pokrovsk area, where the Ukrainian Armed Forces did not allow the Russians to advance further. Now, the next stage is that the Russians will deploy the flanks, mainly the southern flank, and today Russian troops are exerting the greatest pressure in the Gulyaipol-Pokrovsk area. The enemy is strengthening there. The enemy is also preparing in the area of Orekhovo, Pokrovsk, Konstantinovka, and northeast of Seversk. Therefore, preparations are underway for the second wave of introducing Russian reserves, Svitan explained. Svitan believes that the enemy's goal will be to advance in the direction of Orekhov, Gulyaipol, Pokrovsk, Konstantinovka, Seversk, Liman and Kupiansk. It is these cities that the enemy will put the most pressure on. The destruction of two important Russian military leaders has been officially confirmed. The commander of the 155th Marine Brigade, Colonel Sergey Ilyin, and the chief of staff of the same brigade, Colonel Leonid Bashkadin. Ukrainian military expert Ivan Yakovina says that as a result of the recent strike on the operational command post of this brigade in the city of Koronevo in the Kursk region, the entire command of this brigade and the command of some other units of the Russian Navy were destroyed. By the way, before that, there was confirmation that the real sadist, General Mikhail Gudkov, was killed there. He was the deputy commander of the entire Russian fleet and the former commander of the 155th Brigade. In fact, he continued to command the 155th Brigade, and this time Ilyin was, by and large, his deputy, although recently Ilyin was formally listed as the commander. But here it is important to say, of course, that the 155th Marine Brigade is Vladimir Putin's favorite military unit. Ivan Yakovina says that in Ukraine, the 155th Brigade was rather infamous. Its fighters carried out mass executions of Ukrainian prisoners of war and abused their bodies. The 155th Russian Marine Brigade is fighting near the settlement of Alexeyevka. This is in the Sumy region of Ukraine, in its north, and there this brigade, after its entire senior command staff was destroyed, found itself in an operational encirclement. It is surrounded by Ukrainian troops on 3 sides, and on the 4th side there are Ukrainian drones flying which do not allow anyone to escape from this bag. Earlier, Russian Z authors wrote that in the area of Alexeyevka, the 155th Brigade is being simply ironed out and destroyed by all possible means of destruction, clearly intending to completely knock it out in personnel so that not a single living person remains. Several times the Russians have already tried to withdraw this brigade from Alexeyevka, sent some units to help it, but each time they failed. This 155th Brigade is being slowly destroyed. Well, another blow to the fighting spirit of this brigade in recent days was the appointment of its commander, or at least the planned appointment of its commander, General Chechen Sukrab Akhmedov. He once commanded this brigade, and about a year and a half ago he almost completely destroyed it in the battle for Ugledar. Then this same General Akhmedov sent the brigade, subordinated to him, in a frontal assault on minefields, on Ukrainian drones, and this entire brigade was burned along with its military equipment. By the way, this appointment caused a real stir in the Z community. They are terribly unhappy with what happened. They suspect this Akhmedov of being a Ukrainian spy and generally the worst general of all those currently living in Russia, and do not understand why Putin gave him the title of Hero of Russia. In general, here there is treason all around them, and everything is bad and terrible, and they cry and complain, saying that this cannot go on. But in the 155th Brigade itself, there have been mass cases of disobedience to commanders and failure to follow orders after the destruction of the brigade's command staff. The fighters of this brigade tell the remaining commanders, "We are no longer following your orders. Go to hell. We don't want to go into deadly attacks." And in general, discipline in the 155th Brigade has collapsed to the ground. Well, accordingly, its successes in quotation marks on the battlefield, associated with a complete lack of discipline, are expressed in the fact that this brigade is now being effectively knocked out. By the way, Akhmedov, again according to rumors, demanded that all those fighters of the 155th Brigade who do not obey his orders be shot, which of course did not add much love to himself on the part of these Marines. In the Sumy region, it is practically ceasing to exist before our eyes. Well, given the reputation of this brigade, given the fact that its fighters have repeatedly committed war crimes, this is a natural and deserved fate for the 155th Separate Brigade, Ivan Yakovina said.